Hey guys, I am Orlando and you are watching Sin City Cycling, and today's just going to be a short video. I just bought replacement tires for my Venge, and I'm going to be swapping out tires to both bikes. The Venge tires still have some wear on them, so I'm going to be putting them on my training bike, which you guys are familiar with is the AliExpress cheap carbon road bike. It usually gets my hand-me-downs. I don't usually put brand new stuff on here. But anyway, the tires that I go with are GP 5000s, and I used to use the 4000 S2s before that, and they were a great all-around tire. They were fast, they were grippy, they had a decent resistance to rocks and thorns, which we have in abundance here. And when they discontinued those, I was pretty sad, but the 5000s are just as good, if not even a little bit better than the 4000 S2s. I'm getting about 3,000 to 5,000 miles on them, depending on the kind of riding I'm doing. I've also lowered the PSI that I'm using in the tires as well. So on my road, or on the Venge, I run 100 in the back and 90 in the front. The harder you go, the rolling resistance test that you see online, the harder you go, up to 120 is where you get the best rolling resistance. But I found here running 120 PSI on the tires, when you hit rocks, there's no give in the tire. So the tire resists the rock instead of just rolling over it, and it tends to cut the tire and puncture the tube. So I found that going with a little bit less PSI in the tube is a little bit better for that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the tire change, and we'll talk a little bit more about resistance. I have some stuff pulled up on my PC. We can take a look at some of the testing results, and we can see where the GP 5000 stack up against the most popular brands. Okay, so here we are in my living room with the camera pointed at my TV. I figured this would be easier than the picture-in-a-picture because of my abilities with editing isn't so strong. Anyway, like I was just talking about before, the rolling resistance on the GP 5000s versus the other popular brands. And this is bicyclerolling-resistance.com, so you can go ahead and look that up yourself. I don't get anything from them, but it generally has good comparisons with the other tires that are popular out on the market right now. And as you can see here, we have the rolling resistance for road bikes. So we have the road bikes here. And right now, today, the Vittoria Corsa Speed G Plus 2.0, I've never even tried this, but I know the TRL, or the TLR is tubeless ready. They are the leaders in watts, or rolling resistant watts with a 7.0. If you look down here, we do have some of the GP 5000s. These are the tubeless tires. This is the previous model, the TL. The STR is going to be replacing the TL. So the TL, once all the stock is gone on that, that'll be the end of those. And the STR is the replacement for those. And you can see the difference in rolling resistant watts on those is 8.3 and 8.4 respectively. And the reason I believe, and I honestly don't think they should compare clincher tires with tubeless ready tires, because tubeless ready is always going to be a lower rolling resistance because it doesn't have a tube. So I don't think it's a very fair comparison, with these at the top, but just knowing that these are the tubeless ready tires, gives you kind of an idea of why they're beating the GP 5000 to begin with. So if we scroll down here, let's see, we have Corsa, Pro 1, both of the tubeless iterations of the GP 5000s, time trial tires, which are just specifically for that. They don't really have a great puncture resistance at all. Let's see here. Here's Grand Prix's own, or Continental's own Grand Prix time trial with a 9.9. And here you see the regular clincher GP 5000 with a watt savings of 10, or a rolling resistance of 10. And you can see how they conduct the test here is a barrel with the tire attached, and they are running top PSI in the tire as well. So that 10 watts rolling resistance is with 120 PSI to the tire. So as we just discussed earlier, I don't usually use the whole 120. I usually go with about 100 in back and a little less up front, because you're sitting on that back tire. The front doesn't need as much. And that's just my opinion. And I do that to try and get even tread wear on both tires. Anyway, you can see where it sits here. It's about middle of the pack. Turbo Cotton, which is a good tire as well by Specialized. I have used these as well. They are not really good on puncture resistance. Here there's a lot of loose rocks on the road because it's the desert, and I find that these take a rock not too good. But they are extremely close to what the rolling resistance is on the GP 5000s. And for the difference, I would rather go with the better puncture protection of the 5000. Let's see. I know Corsa is another popular one, and excuse me. These are tubeless ready as well. And again, I don't think it's fair to compare the GP 5000s with all of these tubeless tires. There should be a separate category, I think, so from clincher to tubeless, but that's not how they do it. So anyway, as far as I'm concerned, these would be about second on this list of tires here if these tubeless weren't here. And, you know, it looks like the time trial tires are the ones that are going to take the rolling resistant precedent, which, you know, it should. You know, a time trial tire you're only using, you know, for that race, and it should be a faster tire. You know, if you want something every day that's going to be strong, this is why I go with them. I have had friends that have switched over to GP 5000, and they don't like the puncture protection, but if you pay attention to what you're riding over, I go plenty of rides without having a puncture in my tire. You know, I usually get maybe 1 or 2 a month, you know, depending on where I'm at. You know, some of the rougher parts of Las Vegas, I do get more flats than normal. But you can see how they stack up against some of the really popular tires. Continental Zone tires, R4s. These are tires that I ran on my rebuild vintage bike. Those are a good tire as well, the Bontrager. Zips, extremely expensive tires. Let's see, Pirelli P0. These are extremely expensive tires too. I believe that they are about $100 a piece. Let's see, more Continental. Hutchinson, I've actually used these before as well, and they are a decent tire, but the puncture protection is just something that leaves to be desired. And you know, out of all the ones that I've tried, the best all-around grip, you know, speed, all of that stuff is going to be the Grand Prix. I used to run gator skins when I first started road biking. And when I first put on 4000 S2s onto my road bike, then you could easily tell the difference between the gator skin and the GP 4000s. You know, going back to the gator skins felt like dragging a boat anchor behind my bike. It was that noticeable. So, you know, if you're looking for something that's decent and a fast rolling tire, you know, I would definitely go with the Grand Prix. You know, each person, kind of like a saddle, has their own opinion on what works for them. And, you know, obviously it's what works for you best and your budget and you know, all of those things. But for me, my choice will always be the Grand Prix overall, what's the word I'm looking for? All-rounder, that's it, all-rounder tire, where it's, you know, it's got decent puncture protection, it's decent speed, decent rolling resistance, and all that stuff. And, you know, again, that puts, you know, the GP 5000s, you know, way up here. So, you know, that's why I go with the tire. You know, again, you can go with whatever works for you, but this is why it works for me, and this is why I use it. So, you know, like I said, it wasn't going to be a long video, but I figured we'd just kind of take a look at these stats so you can kind of get an idea of, you know, where they stack up against these other tires. And again, I still don't think it's very fair that they compare these tubelesses to clinchers. Oh, here's Corsa. Oh, those are different. Never mind, I thought they were the same tire. Prix 4C. I almost bought some of these too. They were really cheap. They were like $25 a piece. But now that I look at the rolling resistance here of 17 watts, and sorry about that. But now that I look at the rolling resistance here, it's a 7.2 watt difference in rolling resistance. I definitely would have felt that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, here's the gator skin. Oh, this is the hard shell. The hard shell gator skins are the ones that have the sidewall protection. And you can see how I was able to feel that difference. We're talking almost double what the resistance is on the 5000 and the 4000 before that. The 4000 and the 5000 are pretty close in comparison. The 5000s are supposed to be a little bit lighter. at 215 grams. The 4000s were rated at 225. And I know that they weighed them a little bit less in the testing ones that they bought. So what they do is they go out and they buy the tires from a shop instead of having Continental or whatever, tire maker send them the tires. So that way it's a fair test. But they're rated at 215 grams, which is about middle of the road. The TT tires are obviously going to be lighter and faster, but they're just not as good at a puncture protection. And, one of the things you have going for you in a TT is usually the route is cleaned of debris and all that stuff before the race starts. So that's usually why you're able to use a less puncture protected tire. And I think that's about it. Here it gives you kind of an overview on how they test them and that sort of thing. It's really a good thing to check out if you're looking to find where your tires that you use stack up against the other tires. And, some of these where it's only a couple of watts, I don't think you really feel the difference. And, I would go with whatever is the better purchase for you. That's pretty much where we're at. And, this is the weight comparison. Size, it measures about a couple millimeters difference. The rolling resistance tests are on YouTube. So you guys can go check that out. Here they have a breakdown of PSI and rolling resistance. So here is the full PSI of 120, and that's how they get the savings or the rolling resistance number of 10. And you can see here where I use 100, which for me I think is better because the tire gives instead of resists the stuff on the road. And for me that seems like it's better. Smoother to me is always faster. It feels better when you're pedaling. The higher PSI, you really feel all the bumps and stuff like that. And just the 20 PSI difference, you can really feel how it just rolls over rough surfaces better. And for me, I always think smoother is better, even though it does say there is a different watt savings. But, they're all doing it on this drum. So, that's something that you're really not going to feel a difference on, something smooth like this. But anyway, that's how they do the test. Let's see. These are the comparisons of rolling resistance, and here you can see how the GP 5000s in orange stack up against the TT tire, which is here in green. Let's see, the light blue line is the 4000 S2s. So you can see how they've improved greatly. So it looks like the S2s are about 13.5 compared to the 10 of the GP 5000s. And here's another one with Michelin, which still the GP 5000 is really kicking its ass in stats, at least. Let's see. Okay, here GP 5000 has a 12% lower rolling resistance compared to the predecessor, which is the 4000 S2. So I mean, 12% may not sound like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, you're going to feel it. Let's see, puncture resistance. And I don't really understand why the 4000 actually scored higher than the 5 in puncture resistance. In my own personal experience, I've had way more flats with the S2s than with the 5000s. But maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. I haven't actually counted the flats and done it that way. But for me, it seems like it's better with the 5000s. Let's see, TT tire. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I just wanted to show you this page here and let you guys take a look at what I'm basing some of my things I'm saying on. So there's that. Okay, I thought we'd take a quick look at the #1 contender as far as price compared to our 5000s. So I did a search for Vittoria, the Corsa Speed 2.0 TLR, and here you can see the results on that. Let's see, 60 a tire, 110 a tire. Looks to be anywhere from about $60 to $100 for one single tire, and I mean that's I guess not bad. It's way more than I would like to spend, and considering, let's see, we have just a savings of 3 watts, and that's negligible. Whether you'd be able to tell the difference between that 3 watts, I think you probably wouldn't, but don't quote me on that. It's all about the feel of the rider, and again, like saddles, tires are something that's something that you need to find something that'll work for the style of riding you're doing. But for me, here we are with the GP 5000s, and these are just the regular, not the tubeless. And I bought both of mine from a company called Pro Bike Kit, and they send me periodic. I sign up for their newsletter. They send me periodically coupons and stuff for 2 tire deals. And out the door with express shipping, I just paid $90 for express shipping. Here you can see individual tires are going for about 40 bucks. And I wouldn't pay more than 100 for a pair. You can find them out there. Usually if you go with a search, you can usually find somebody who has them on sale and save that way. Here's Pro Bike. These are the guys I buy mine from, and 2 tire deal for 77. And I believe that's the one I just did, except I think mine was a little bit less. It's 70. With tax and shipping. Like I said, it came out to about $90. So for the money, I still think the GP 5000 is the better choice. And, you know, here you can see why I think that. So I would had to have spent at least double what I spent on my GP 5000s to save that 3 watts difference that Vittoria Corsas have in between the rolling resistance at 7 and the rolling resistance at 10 of the GP 5000s. And again, I really think that 3 watts would be negligible, whether or not you would be able to tell. I really don't think it would make that much of a difference. Anyway, there's that comparison, and that is another example of why I go with the Continental GP 5000. It's not just a decent, you know, rolling tire, a good all-around tire, but it's also an affordable tire as well. So there you go. Okay, and let's see. Here we are. These are the tires that are on my bike currently, and let me see if I can get it to focus here. These 2 little dots that you see here are the wear indicators, and you can see how they're still present. This is the front tire that I have. The ones in back are almost unseeable or not there. But it's a cool little thing that they add to their tires. So when you can no longer see the little wear indicators, you know you're ready to change the tire. And I usually wait until I can see thread coming through the casing of the tire. I'm not quite there yet on these, and that's why I'm going to be switching these over to the Cheap Carbon road bike. It's pretty cool that they do that. It makes it easy to tell whether or not you need new ones. And when I start seeing the ones in front smoothing out, that's usually when I go ahead and source a new set. But anyway, that's the wear indicators, and you know, it's decent. And you know, anyway, I didn't want to make this a long video. I just thought, you know, I was getting ready to change the tires, and I kind of get into why I kind of like use these tires on my road bikes. It is a bike channel. But anyway, as always, if you like the kind of things we're doing, please consider hitting that like and that subscribe. I'm not sure why, but I know everyone else says it, so I think that, you know, I should. I think it has something to do with the analytics, but it's also just nice if you like the kind of things we're doing. Please let us know. Anyway, as always, I am Orlando. You have been watching Sin City Cycling. Peace.